Good afternoon and welcome to the third annual Black Male Summit hosted by the men of Howard P.R.I.D.E. My name is Terrell Bratcher and I serve as the completion specialist for this program. The purpose of today's summit is to share and acknowledge the great things and happenings within the program and to set the tone for the academic school year. The number one question I get while recruiting for the program is, what does PRIDE stand for? Purpose, respect, initiative, determination, and excellence. These are the tenets that we aspire to instill in our young men. And in return, we hope that our young men display those same qualities to the HCC community. And if they don't, just let us know. At this time, I would like to recognize the men of Howard P.R.I.D.E. So if all of our Howard P.R.I.D.E. members, if you can stand up at this time, be recognized. We are, oh, I can sit down now. That's great. We are super proud and excited about the prospects for this academic school year, and to give an official welcome and kickoff to the summit, it is my pleasure to introduce to you all, and for our official welcome, the VP of Student Development, Dr. Cindy Paterka.
Well, thank you. It is a privilege to be here. I think many of you know, but Howard P.R.I.D.E. Is the college's Black Male Success Initiative. It was developed to assist African American men to persist from semester to semester, to successfully complete college-level mathematics, to complete an associate's degree here at Howard, and then to transfer to a four-year institution to pursue a bachelor's degree. In addition, it's really become an incredible leadership development program. And the men of Howard P.R.I.D.E. have experienced great success. They are retained at a higher rate, have an average grade point average, and a higher graduation rate than other African American male students on campus. In addition, many have become strong leaders. Men of Howard P.R.I.D.E., I am really proud of your accomplishments. Please keep up the great work. Look around today, you'll see a lot of faculty and staff in the room, and we're all here to help you succeed. We're here because you are our future. You are our future leaders, and to the extent you succeed, we succeed. I want to quickly thank the leadership of this program, Geoffrey Colbert, whose birthday it is today. And Terrell, Bratcher, and Daniel, and all of the tutors, and then all of the other staff who support Geoffrey and Terrell, such as Janice Marks, Deborah Green, Brandon Bellamy, and Melody Gale, and there are many, many more. I just want to say, please enjoy the fabulous speaker we have today, and I expect that Santana Moss will inspire all of us to be champions in life.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are ready to get this started. Thank you all for joining us today for our third annual Black Male Summit. If you can believe it or not, Howard P.R.I.D.E. is 7 years old. What grade is that? First grade? Second grade? So we're excited to be here. In the 7 short years, we've gone from 25 students to over 210. That is quite impressive, and we're excited about the success of this program. To give credit to our president, Dr. Kate Hetherington, who couldn't be here today, I'd like to thank her for her support. To Dr. Paterka for the support. It's unwavering. Thank you very much. To Deborah Green, Melody Gale, thank you guys for your support. Ms. Janice Marks, I see you up there. Thank you again for your support. This program wouldn't be what it is without you guys. So I'm going to quickly get through this. I know, while I'd like to think everyone was here to hear about Howard P.R.I.D.E., I know Mr. Moss is up, and you guys are here to see him, and you're anxious. I love all the sea of maroon and gold, and the jerseys and the helmets. I think that's really cool and really impressive. So we'll talk about Howard P.R.I.D.E for a little bit, and then we'll let him take the stage. One of the big deals to me is community engagement with Howard P.R.I.D.E, to make sure that we are supporting what is happening locally and also in Baltimore City. So the men of Howard P.R.I.D.E, we go out annually last year to serve in the community, and we did a food service at the Franciscan Center in Baltimore City. We had a great time. We wore awesome hairnets. I even had to have a beard net, and served over 400 people. This year, to do things a little bit bigger and better, we've kicked it up to 4 community services that we'll be doing throughout Baltimore City and here locally. It's a really big deal for us to continue to support what's happening in Baltimore and help change the city. As we continue in this, a big part of this is social activism and social justice. So we work with our local Howard County Police Department. I think there may be a member here today on representation for them. But the goal is to build a bridge to connect in the gaps that exist between our minority male students and the police. So with this, we played them in basketball in our top right corner. We actually dominated them. I don't want to say destroy. I don't think that's a great word. Actually, we destroyed them. And I love them. I say that with all love and grace. I think like 30 points, 40 points. They actually told me to stop playing defense at halftime. Great event. So then after that, with the help of Sean Lamb, we went over and had an awesome sit down. I think it's really important to have a great dialogue with the police to help everyone see each other's perspectives. And so it was a really honest conversation. So that's what you see in the top right. And then after that, they said, let's play football. So we said, let's do it. So the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we got together. We played football at Cedar Lane, and they beat us. So I say all that very somberly, but our next game is coming up in November, actually the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward. Terrell will be leading the team and doing conditioning and strength training, so we cannot lose this one. They've been talking about us pretty terribly, and so this is a really important game for us. So I'm excited about what we're doing. You know, in the small things, in the grand scheme of this, when we're looking about building the bridge, we had a student who got pulled over for a speeding ticket. And the officer said, listen, I recognize you from the event, I'm gonna let you go. And I was like, success, it's working, it's working. It's absolutely working. Now, while it's for the wrong reasons, I think that's how we begin, as small and simple as that. I think community policing, you have to know the community, and I think that's really important for us, particularly as minority men. Last year, we went to Black, Brown, and College Bound, again with the help of Sean Lamb. In 2017, we took 2 students. Last year, we took 9, 2 are missing. Actually, they're with Mr. Lamb inside the building. And so here, this is where we were. It's a great conference. We met with Michael Strahan, a lot of other prominent figures, so really awesome people. And so I said, how can we do this bigger and better? And so the college really stepped up, and we heard from our development office, and they said, Geoffrey, we have a donor for you. They really like to support you. And so for this year, for the first time ever, we're going to be taking 15 young men to Tampa, Florida to participate in Black, Brown, and College Bound. So it's a really cool experience, even from the flight, to kind of understand what it is to fly with 15 people and coordinate, and Southwest doesn't assign seats, and so that's just a free-for-all. But we're excited. I'm very gracious and appreciative of what the college is doing to support this program. As we continue on, for the first time ever, there's been a lot of firsts this last year. We participated in the alternative spring break. We went to Chicago, to the south side, and did a lot of work of what we see what's happening here in Baltimore, a lot of parallels. And so for the first time, we took 3 students from Howard P.R.I.D.E, which was a great opportunity, a great experience. And we really enjoyed it. We did community garden. Markeen is here on the front row. He can tell you about his experience a little bit later when he's up on the stage, but it was just an eye-opening experience to be able to participate in. So the other day, thanks to our folks in PR and marketing and Beth Holman, I was on the phone with a reporter, and she said, Geoffrey, I love what's going on with Howard P.R.I.D.E. It's great, what's happening, but tell me something new. What are you guys doing that's new? And I was like, well, we have 210 guys. She's like, no, tell me more. What's that? I was like, man, 210, that's a big number. She said, no, I need something new, something big. And I said, well, there is this new initiative, if you must know. We are doing our own alternative spring break trip to Selma, Alabama. And so for the Howard P.R.I.D.E. students exclusively, they'll be participating in their own alternative spring break. Terrell and I will be traveling to Montgomery with 12 students. We'll be staying in the same house. We'll be working in Selma, working with the Boys and Girls Club there. We're doing a little social justice activism work there as well. We're excited about the opportunity. It's only with the college's support that we could do this. I wanted to be able to offer this opportunity to more students, and so having Our 3 previously participate to now going to 12. We're excited about the success and the growth of what we're doing here. Next year, with the help of Cindy Page Desi, we are thinking international. So it's going to be great to get passport for the guys and really do that. I'm truly excited about what Howard P.R.I.D.E's been able to do for our young men of color. So I'm excited. So look out, Selma. We're coming ready, and we're excited. So I would be remiss if I didn't share about the success we're having. I know you see a lot of glitz and glam, and it's a lot of fun, and we're traveling and flying. But in truth, the success really speaks for itself. Last year, we had our highest graduating class in the history of this program. We had 34 students leave Howard Community College to go into awesome institutions. So how do I do that again? With a lot of prayer and help and support from the staff that Dr. Paterka mentioned earlier. But for Terrell and I, we take it as a real challenge. How do we increase this number, and how do we do that? So in 2019, next summit, when I tell you guys how well we did, I hope that this number actually surpassed the 50 that we're actually shooting for in their transition. So as I prepare to take my seat, I thank you all for joining us. This is a testament to the support that our students have here at the college, and I really appreciate you guys being here. At this particular time, I would like Mr. Bratcher to come up and share a few words about our keynote speaker.
Santana Moss is a wide receiver who played in the National Football League for 14 seasons. He played college football for the University of Miami, where he went from being a walk-on onto the team to earning All-American honors. Moss was selected by the New York Jets in the first round of the 2001 draft, where he spent 4 seasons with the team before playing for the Washington Redskins for 10 seasons, HCC. Moss was selected as an All-Pro in 2005. In 2016, Moss earned a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of Miami Business School. At this time, can we please welcome Mr. Santana Moss?
What an introduction. Thank you. First of all, I want to say happy birthday again, Geoffrey. Welcome to everybody who was able to attend this event today. I'm definitely honored and humbled to be here to be a part of this event with you. Before I was approached, or when I was approached to do this event, I did a little research and had to look up Howard P.R.I.D.E, see what Howard P.R.I.D.E was about. I can tell you I truly stand by what you guys are standing for. I think you're doing a tremendous job, empowering and helping our young black men. So give yourself a round of applause. One of the things that I take pride in now that I started back in 2000 before I even got a check from the NFL, but just coming up in my surroundings and my upbringings, I've always tried to be that person, that mentor, that brother, that uncle that can give back to the community, and mostly to, people of my same color, because I understand the struggle. So that's why, it was no doubt in my mind that I wanted to be a part of this event today. So thank you for having me again. And no further ado, I'm looking forward to all the questions you might have about my journey to the NFL and the path I took. So make sure my man who's gonna be asking me all the questions asks me everything, because I got a lot for you. Thank you again for having me, and I'm ready to answer questions.
So what we're going to do is have a conversation between HCC and Mr. Santana Moss. And to facilitate that conversation will be one of our own members of Howard P.R.I.D.E, Markeen Lateef. A native of Burlington, New Jersey, Lateef is a peer mentor for Howard P.R.I.D.E, as well as a member of the HCC basketball team. A true student athlete, Markeen currently holds a 3.5 GPA and is on pace to graduate in the spring. So what I would like to have happen now is to have Markeen stand up. Let's give Markeen a round of applause. And Markeen is going to take his seat on stage. Markeen is going to ask Mr. Moss a series of questions that was pre-screened by the members of Howard P.R.I.D.E. After our conversation, we will be taking a large group photo with Howard P.R.I.D.E and with the HCC community with Mr. Moss. From there, Howard P.R.I.D.E will be transitioning to our lunch segment of the summit. So thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to our gentleman to start our conversation.
Before I start, I want to give a little background on myself. I come from New Jersey. I grew up in a broken home, just me and my mom, nobody else. Perverted area, one of the worst schools in the state of New Jersey. And through all that, somehow I made it here to where I am today. When we start, would you like to we came from similar situations, obviously, that we talked about earlier. Would you like to give a little background on the environment that you grew up in, what kept you going, the mentality that it took to get to where you're standing at today?
Well, one of the things that I share with you that coming up, growing up in Miami, some of the things I saw early in my childhood years kind of led to who I am today and led me to the path that I took to become who I am today. I grew up in Miami, Florida. My first early childhood years I spent in Liberty City, and I'm pretty sure y'all hear about Liberty City now, to this day, First 48, you name it. It was rural, it was a rural area, poverty, a bunch of crime, but at the end of the day, I had a support system. And that support system did everything they could do to get me out of there. And from there, I moved to Carroll City, which you thought it would be a little better because now you're staying in a nice home and you have neighborhoods, but it was even rougher. Now you're dealing with gangs and you're dealing with more crime and more drugs. But at the end of the day, like I said before, that support system was able to have my back at all times. And one of the things, the reason why I am who I am today when it comes to what I do through my foundation and why I reach out to the community, any community, I don't, discriminate. I mainly being my own, but I reach out to all to make sure that people know, or especially our youth know, that they have somebody that have their back, that know where they're coming from, that know, how hard it is out here. And that's something that I didn't have from no one else in the community, but I had it at home. So I understand the differences of having that support system and how guys like myself were able to make it through some of those hard times and not having that support system and seeing my friends and the guys who didn't make it. So that's why I've strived to always be that difference maker and do the things that I do.
My next question would be, a lot of people don't know, you went to Miami, you went to the NFL. A lot of people don't know you didn't actually have a scholarship for football when you went to Miami. You walked on. How much harder was it for you to get to start making Pro Bowls, breaking records in the NFL? How much harder was it being a walk-on at Miami? What were kind of some of the setbacks you might have had, shortcomings before you got to the place that you were at?
Well, to be honest with you, man, football was always number one for me. And just to show you how small this world is, University of Miami did give me a track scholarship. And I come here today and my track coach is sitting up there. So y'all say hey to Coach Ward. Honestly, man, so growing up in Miami, my dream was to be a football player, day one. I knew that, regardless of my structure, my size, what people told me I could or could not do, it wasn't going to stop what I dreamt and what I believed in. So regardless of what was around me, I was going to do all I had to do to see that dream through. Football was going to be the way in and my way out. And when I got a chance to decide, okay, I get a chance to go to school, I knew I wanted to go to college and I knew I wanted to be a football player, so I knew I had to go to college. I had schools up north that wanted to give me full rides for football, and Miami gave me that ring and said, hey, we want you as a track scholarship. We have a track scholarship for you and you can walk on. So most guys might see that as a challenge. Hey man, I got to go to Miami that way. I don't want to go in that way. Me, I'm a football player regardless. So I didn't see it as, nothing but what I've been going through all my life. Just another obstacle, just another step that I have to take to go out there and pursue my dream. So let's go, sign me up, coach, let me do it. And when I took that scholarship, I didn't know what was going to be the outcome of my career there and now, but I just knew that I had something in mind already. So regardless of whatever road I had to take to get there, I was going to see to it.
While there, what was your most valuable experience? We're all here, college students, first, second year, maybe some thirds. What was the most valuable experience you might have learned while you was there?
Oh, man. I got so many stories, man. We could be up here all day. So I'm gonna try to cut it down. Most valuable experience. One of the things I experienced early in college is that, so one of the things I'm pretty sure all you guys experiencing now, this is your first time of your independence. You're out your mom, some of you guys out your mom's house, mom and dad's home, and now you have a chance to say, I can decide what today should be like. I can wake up and go to school, I can sit inside. It might be cold a little bit. You touch that glass. I've been there. You touch that window. It might be too cold. I'm not going to class today. I experienced that. I was proud to get out that house. You know, at 18, just my mom and dad to this day call me and say, "You don't call home enough. You don't go." Mama, I love y'all, but you know, I was proud to leave when it was time. A lot of y'all might not be the same as me, but one of the things that I remember is that I had to change a lot of the things that I wanted to do in order to get to where I wanted to go. You know, as college students, you see your peers and your friends and say, well, it's college night on Thursdays, we going bar hopping. Monday nights is football, you name it, we gonna go watch the game, eat some wings, have some drinks. I had to sacrifice some of that fun, those fun times, and what the locals and what the regulars did to say, man, I gotta go. And don't get me wrong, I tried it. You know, I tried some of that stuff and it didn't go so well. It didn't go so well. And when I realized that I was going backwards instead of climbing that ladder like I wanted to, shut it down. So I had to make some sacrifices saying that, hey, this is my goal. And as long as I lead this straight line to where I'm trying to go and everything is going well on that line, then I'm gonna cut all that other stuff out. So that was some of the things I had to do to understand that you have to give something just to get what you really want.
Well, I'm sure everybody pretty much knows about your NFL career. Well, one question I do want to have about it, what was your lowest point during it?
My lowest point during my NFL career?
Yeah.
My lowest point actually was my first year in the NFL. Here I am, a rookie for the New York Jets. And if everybody knows New York, man, the media could beat you down, beat you up and down. And coming in the way I came in, you know, New York moved up to get me in the draft. It was already said that a guy my size won't even make it that high in the first round. And then here I am before even I get into a preseason game, you know, I tear my knee. And when I tell you the way those guys treated me over there, like I was chopped liver. Like they basically, you know, once I got hurt, it was like, you know, there goes our investment. And that's how I felt. Like I felt like they really looked at me as an investment, and when I couldn't do nothing or be me, be the guy that was returning punts, making those big plays that I made a year ago in college, they kind of just turned their backs. And I really walked through the halls of my organization that had invested 4 years an option in me and felt like I really, you know, wasn't wanted. And that didn't do nothing but stir the fire up in me though. You know, I was a guy that I didn't really need your attention or your acknowledgement for me to do what I want or what I conquered to be in life or do in life. So with all that time of those guys, you know, turning their backs, turning their heads, you know, it just it made me realize that I've been in the same bubble for how many years now? At that time I was 22 years old. And I'm like, I've been struggling and striving to be the best I can be, so this is another obstacle. And I think it was my lowest point because I remember the times of being home and couldn't play football for the first time. Like, this is my first year away from the game. And watching guys playing the preseason games, mentioning my name, all their first round draft pick is hurt, blah, blah, blah. You know, one of the things about this NFL thing, for all you guys who are inspired to be, or any kind of athlete, you know, the media can be cruel. And they say things not knowing that we all human. We hear, we listen, we watch, you know what I'm saying? We see all that. And here they go writing me up already. Like, well, you know, it was always question about his size, and here you go, now it's gonna be question about his durability. I got hurt, it's not my fault, you know, it happens. And truth, you know, be told, I wanted to be out there with those guys, but I couldn't. You know, I heard something that was valuable, most valuable to me, and that's my knee. You know, I need that the most. So hearing all that stuff and just going through those motions and seeing the things that I saw, I think that was my lowest point, but it only stirred up the fuel, you know, and made me want what I had and what I had become a lot more.
Life after football, a lot of people don't know you went back to school. Why did you feel like it was so important for you to go back to school, especially having this type of success that you did go on to have? Why did you think it was so important to go back to school, and how could you steer a lot of people in here in the direction to use their education to the best of their ability?
Well, to be honest, for years after I graduated with my first degree, I graduated those 4 years that I spent there playing ball. I went to school to be a teacher, took up education. My senior year, I ended up missing like a class, or I had something to take just for me to get that degree. And through the process of traveling, trying to be a pro, I wasn't going to graduate because I needed a class that they wasn't allowing me to take. I had probably should have took it earlier and didn't take it. And so my guidance counselor told me, hey, you can finish with liberal arts degree and it still has the same, requirements of a teacher. So do you want to, let's do it. I'm about to get drafted. So at the end of the day, I wanted to finish. The entire time that I was, once I graduated and made it pro, all in the same year, every year I thought about going back. We had different programs in the NFL that allowed us to, pursue higher education, whether it was Harvard, whether it was, you name it, Yale. They was always giving us those opportunities to say, hey, if you want to be better or want to know more, you want another degree on your back, pursue this dream. And I thought about it and I was like, nah, I don't want to do it in my off season, and that's just how you think, because you go through those 6, 7, 8 months and it's football. Those 3 months that you get downtime, you want to be able to enjoy yourself, your time, and your family time. So it was always in the back of my head. And who would have known 14 years later, I played my last season, didn't know it was my last season. And it's crazy how things happen. I can say 2 of the best agents, Drew Rosenhaus and his brother Jason. They would call me every year in the off season, and they called me throughout the year. But in the off season, they always give me a plan, something to do down my downtime. And Jason called me and said, hey, they have a program at the University of Miami, athletes and entertainers, where you can go there and get an accelerated MBA degree. I think you should, pay some attention to this and maybe consider it. I hear you. And that's how I asked them, yeah, I hear you. It's 14 years later. Now that kind of thought of going back to school was kind of way out of my mind. And through the process, I understood that here I am a free agent too. So I'm gonna be waiting a while probably to get a call or not know where it's gonna be my future when it comes to this, my profession that I've been known so well for the last 14 years. So what I did, I said, what the heck? Let me go ahead. It's something telling me to do this. It's a sign. Let me go ahead and sign up. So I signed up for the MBA degree and classes, and I went for the first year, 2015, when I was a free agent. And actually, it was the best thing that I could have done because, one, I was pursuing a higher education, and at the same time, I was a free agent that didn't know if the NFL even was going to exist to me anymore. It came quick that, hey, you know what? My mind started kind of, fading and saying, hey, I don't want to have to wait this long to get a call. So the time that I was pursuing that degree, I was able to put my mind somewhere else. And to be honest with you, man, I learned more, and I don't want to. You gotta make sure y'all pay attention to what you're doing now, because the 4 years that I spent in college, those first 4 years, I learned more in those 2 years, because I really was able to, I was much more mature, and I was able to apply myself a lot more. So I took advantage of the time, the downtime from my profession, and also the time that it allowed me to do something that I don't think that I took advantage of when I was there those first 4 years. So just having those guys backing me, my agents, we hear so much other stuff about agents and what they do wrong. Here's 2 guys that always been top class, first class to me, and here they are telling me to pursue a higher education. And now, not having football is something that I have in my back pocket that I can always, pull out whenever somebody want to check me,
What are you, your life after the NFL, what is it that you use? What is it that you do now as far as to obviously still provide for your family, have a successful life?
Well, one of the things that you do when you're playing this game, they tell you, have a plan B. You have a plan B. You never know. I can tell you quickly, my first year, I was thinking about Plan B. When I got hurt, and I'm sitting here like, man, they told me, Tanner, 4 years and you good. I wasn't thinking about 4 years. I was thinking about having a long career, but here I am, my first year getting hurt. And so Plan B was already racing in my head, like, man, have a backup plan. Fortunately, I didn't have to lean on anything because I was able to, overcome that obstacle and have a long career. But like I said before, I went to school to be a teacher. And the reason why is because I've always saw myself teaching in some form. I don't think I necessarily saw myself in the classroom teaching. I remember those days of having to go do that just to get my credits to graduate, and it was a wake-up call. Yeah, man, you got to deal with some bad kids, man. It was a wake-up call early, like, do I really want to teach? But I got a kick out of it because, the thrill I got from it is honestly being able to share something similar like today, share a story, and get these kids to really sink into what I'm trying to teach them. And after those stories and after me sharing the fun times of what I was doing, because they was always intrigued in me being a football player, then I was able to get them to calm down and, let's take on this lesson plan. But I realized that was going to be something of my calling. But I knew that teaching probably wasn't going to be it. So the whole time I was in the NFL, I was saying to myself that I probably would see myself coaching in some form. But before all that coaching and teaching and all that stuff, while I was in the NFL, every time I got a couple of dollars here and there that I feel like I didn't need to do nothing with, I invested in real estate. I was investing in here. Made some good, made some bad, Some of the bad ones, I sit here today and I'm able to sit with my head high and say, whew, I'm glad I was able to escape it. But I was always trying to look for that way out of saying that I don't have to really work again. I don't want to work again. Some of us fortunate enough to not have to, but I knew that I wasn't a guy that's going to just sit down when it was all said and done and just do nothing. So when I came to the time of deciding what I wanted to do, I knew I had a lot of stuff that I could do. And it was just a matter of time, me picking what I wanted to do. I was, at a game and a couple of the, media outlets in the area came to me and said, you want to work? And to me, it was like in my wildest dream when I ever thought that I'd be in front of a camera talking football, because that was one of the things I shied away from the most, probably the cameras, because I didn't like getting in my face when I was playing. I was always a guy that stood up and spoke, for the team when things went bad or good, but I just hated being in front of the camera. So now that's what I do now. I'm an analyst, NBC Sports, NBC4, Redskin local channels. I also, you hear me on 106.7 The Fan. It's talking all football, and to me, that's a form of coaching. I get a chance to coach some of the listeners, some of the callers. Some of them don't know nothing. They call in and they have their 2 cents, and you let them, go away and yap away at what they feel that should be going on. And you have, and I'm one of those guys, man. You can talk all the crap you want to me, because I'll take it. But at the end of the day, the guy who I'm on air with half the time, he don't want to take it. He normally hang up on him. But that's what I'm doing now, And to be honest with you, I couldn't see me doing anything else. Don't get me wrong. I still have that little twitch in me that want to coach one day. And I know with coaching, it comes a lot of your time. And I just spent 14 seasons playing, and that took up a lot of my time from my family, from my kids. So I feel that probably when I'm tired of doing this TV thing, I would say, hey, you know what? I'm ready to give my time again to the league or to college. I prefer college football because I can see a lot of these faces that I can be able to, really direct in the right direction, and that's something that was given to me, and I would love to give it back.
You talked about teaching and mentoring. So what do you think you could say to some of the people in here, specifically young African American males, some advice that you could give them on their path, especially now where some people probably came from similar backgrounds to us? They're trying to escape that background, maybe get away. What changes do you think that they can make, opportunities that they could take advantage of just to better their lives and to keep growing as they go on their day-to-day?
Well, and this is why I love doing this, because you're able to sit there and look men in the face and tell them, your story, and allow them to, hopefully, somebody gonna get it, Somebody gonna get it. And that's what I always say. When I come to, anytime I get a chance to speak in front of whoever it is, somebody gonna get the message. One of the things that we see now, everybody coming up. Oh, he got that, she got that. And we want it now. We want it now. And so the advice I give you, it's okay to dream. Dream, please dream, do that. Because I dreamt from day one. I was one of those guys, to this day I still wonder how did I have the mindset as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and to see everything and still remember those things I dreamt then, and to see it, all come, to reality, and be able to sit here and speak it. A lot of people feel like, man, this is what life is. What I see every day, what I see my uncles doing, what I see my granddaddy doing, what I see my dad doing. Some of you don't have fathers. And so you feel like, well, I'm cursed, or I don't have that chance. I'm a testament of a guy believing, a guy being told you couldn't, a guy being told you can't, and I'm a testament of it. And because I believe, I have faith. We all, sit here and most of us go to church, but some of us don't. I wasn't brought up in that kind of a house. But that didn't mean I didn't get on my knees and pray every night, And through the ups and downs, even when I was at my lowest, I still had faith, still believed, Tanner, you're gonna overcome it. You're gonna see through it. And it's crazy because some of the things you go through now, 10 years from now, you're gonna be presented with something either the same, similar, or harder. And it's gonna be how you handle the situation now is gonna be the outcome of what that situation 10 years from now is gonna, be. And I was told that. I was the guy sitting in one of these seats that was told that by a speaker. And he said, I wanna see how many people get it. And I got it. And I lived it every day. Every day I believe. And, it sounds cliche because you hear it so much. Believe, man, have a dream, do this, you can do it. Yes, it's cliche, but at the same time, there's nothing for free in life, man. It's nothing for free. You have to give something in order to get what you want. And sometimes that's sacrificing the fun times with your boys, with that girl, those clubbing nights, those times when you want to, act a fool, when you shouldn't act a fool. You got to understand, man, all that stuff is going to allow you to have or not have what you're trying to seek. And that's what to me, the most valuable advice I can give any young man when it comes to inspiring or being inspired to follow his dreams. I feel that at the end of the day, it's all about you. No one can tell me nothing or you nothing about what you want to become or what's out there for you. If you want it, push through, regardless of the hard times you're going through, regardless of the hard times you come from. So what? We all go through them. Even the people that have all the money in the world, trust me, they still going through hard times. Just because you got money don't mean those times are over. It's even harder. So just believe, man. Have faith in it. When you feel like, man, here I am, I'm climbing that ladder and roadblock. So what? That's testing. That's a test. It's testing you to see if you really want what you want. Do you really have in you what you think you have in you to go around this roadblock? Every time you can't go through it, you got to go around it sometime. You got to allow it to say, you know what, let me sit back. Let me sit back and, take in what's going on. Sometimes we have to be slowed down, but just know it's a purpose for all that. And if you believe and you got faith, you should overcome it.
Are there any guys who have any direct questions? If you do, please come down to the podium to ask Mr. Moss, and he'll be happy to take them. He's going to be brave enough.
Come on now. Don't be shy, man.
Brave enough.
Be scared now. You always want to talk.
Say something. Right here. My favorite part about being in the NFL? What did I love the most? So you got two questions on one. So my favorite part about being in the league and what I love outside of football? Man, that sounds like two questions, but my favorite, I'm gonna give it to you how you gave it to me. My favorite part about being in the league, man, I was 6, 7 years old and said I was gonna do it. And to see that come through, you know, I remember, you know, just now thinking about it, it brings chills to me. You know, I remember at a time of playing ball, and some of y'all gonna be these fathers to y'all kids if y'all don't have kids already. My dad would cuss and fuss me out. I feel like I ain't do nothing right on the field. And I got guys always telling me, oh boy, who dad is that? Man, I won't even say nothing. And then they see me go home with him like, man, that's his dad. But I feel like I could do no right, you know? And he didn't play ball, but he wanted the best. He wanted me to give my best. And at times, I probably didn't give my best because I see that now in my kids, you know? And so, fast forward to my high school years, I walk in the door and he says, Star, what's up? So I'm like, man, I know I just scored, had a touchdown tonight and 100 yards, so I guess he's starting to see this, you know, this thing come through. And that didn't do nothing but encourage me more to want what I've always wanted. And every level when I climbed that ladder from high school to college, then making it, I remember that draft day when I got drafted. I remember my mom and my dad sitting there tearing up, and I'm sitting there like, well, y'all don't get soft on me. You know, because I didn't want to tear up, because I thought I was going to tear up too. So, to me, beyond the playing, beyond all that playing part, just to be my mom's first child, to say that, man, you know, he said he was going to do this at 6, 7 years old, and look at it, you know. I appreciate that more than everything I experienced in the league. And outside of football, you asked me that too, right? The thing I love to do most outside of football is just, you know, I think half of it is being a father. You know, I feel like I had 2 younger brothers growing up, and one of the things that inspired me the most is always push them to be me or better. So it was only right that when I had my kids, I was gonna be the same way. So outside of playing, man, living life and enjoying it to the fullest, I enjoy being a father, buddy.
What was your greatest catch and who was it on?
Well, if you, he said, what was my greatest catch and who was it on? I had many, man. I'm pretty sure everywhere I go, they always talk about the Monday Night Miracle. So since we're talking about the Monday Night Miracle, I'm gonna give it the Monday Night Miracle. To me, honestly, as a Redskin, I can talk about a lot of them, but the one that stands out, and the reason why it stands out, I understand. You know, the Redskin, most of the Redskin fans, that I bump into, they tell me back in the day it was championships. And then in the years when I played, it was the Monday Night Miracle. So that's why they give it so much praise. And I'm fortunate enough to be, you know, a part of that. And I'm fortunate enough to be the guy who caught both of those touchdown passes. I think that would never fade. I think if you didn't know anything else about me, if you Google me, that'd probably be the first thing pop up as a Redskin. But it's crazy because how things happen. The Monday Night Miracle was my first year here in Washington, the second game of the season. The reason why that game meant so much after the entire game, it really didn't mean much to me going into the game, but just to think back, the guy who was covering me was a guy that played with me for the Jets. He was a guy, when I came in to the Jets my rookie season, he sorted me out. He said, I'm gonna follow you around. Aaron Glenn. He was one of the best DBs in the league for a long time. He was probably drafted 4th pick overall when he came out in the early 90s. Aaron Glenn followed me around practice. I mean, I couldn't line up nowhere on offense without him covering me. And, you know, I don't know if that was trying to make me who he wanted me to be for them, but at the end of the day, it got me better. And what it also did was allow me to know what his weaknesses was. So leading up to that game, I told Coach, I want this route against him. I watched other guys who he played, Marvin Harris, all these guys, Reggie Wayne, all these guys ran this particular route against him, and he would give it up every time. And I gave Coach that insight. We didn't run it the whole entire game, and until I was pouting on the sideline, and they gave it to me, and that's how the 2 touchdowns came about. So that had to be the moment, man, since you asked. Appreciate you. Say it again for me.
I feel like the NFL is more of a zoo, but they show you off like you're in a zoo.
Oh, well, you know what, man? I mean, at the end of the day, the process of getting to where we got, it sounded like you was, you know, it seemed to me like one of those auctions at times, you know, don't get me wrong. It was, because if you go through the process that we had to go through, standing in front of all these men and sitting in seats just like this, we line them on the stage, we all in shorts with no shirts on. They're measuring you from your height, how thick you is, your weight, all that. And then at the end of the day, you gotta go out here and run fast. You know what I mean? It was, but guess what? If I had to do it all over again, I will, because that's what I wanted. I knew I was signing up for this. And even when I got into the NFL, did I like the media, how their approach was at times? They talked the negative stuff just to bring out whatever they was trying to get across. No, I didn't. Do I have to pay attention to it? No, I wouldn't. So I made sure that if anything I disliked about what I was doing, in order to get what I wanted out of it, I paid attention to what I wanted to pay attention to, and that's just being positive as I could, staying here, never getting too high, never getting too low. And regardless of what was going on around me, whether it was the media, whether it was the league itself, how they exploited us, oh well, I signed up for it. And at the end of the day, I'm able to take care of my family and play the sport that I dreamt of playing.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you, bro.
We got one more, man. We got one more.
Last one.
I'm gonna give him the last one.
Gotta give my man Mike one.
One more. Great question. See, I knew it was good for us to get one more.
Okay.
I'm trying to be quick too, because I probably short of time, so I don't want to be too long. Great question, man. Honestly, to be honest with you, brother, from where I had came from, it was no doubt in my mind that there's nothing that you can tell me, that's going to make me think otherwise and where I want to go. One of the craziest moments of that whole process of me getting to that track scholarship, I had a Army recruit, and you see him every day. This military guy, he's suited and booted every day, and through the whole year, you wonder why we have Army, Navy, all these different recruits out to our high schools. And this guy had me. He was like, brother, you was a great football player. He was dapping me up and pat me on the back during the football season. Then it was time to go to school, he was telling me, you better not go there, you need to be in the Army. And when he found out that I was going to University of Miami on a track scholarship, you should have heard the words he gave me. You stupid, you too small, you'll never, they sold you that dream of walking on, man, that's the dumbest decision you could ever make, man. You could have came to the Army for 2 years and we could have put you up in any school you want. He gave me all that, and okay, buddy, I appreciate it, whatever. But that just let me know that he's just like anybody else out there that don't believe in me. I don't need you. I didn't need you to believe in me because you wasn't there when I was trying to get to where I'm at now. So anybody who's in my support system, people who raised me in that household, and myself is all I care about. If they have the same dreams and aspirations for myself that I do, then we're on the right page. I got the right page. And when I made that deciding fact of where I wanted to go, and went out there and did that, I was looking for him the next 2 years. I went back to high school. No, I'm being real. I went back to the high school looking for him. And he couldn't look me in the eye. Because he realized that he tried to sell me to something that, it wasn't for me. It might be for somebody else, but it ain't for me, And so it's going to be doubters. It's going to be haters. It's going to be people tell you that, man, regardless of what you got or what you don't have, you ain't going to have it. But it's up to you.
Cool. Very good. Good question.
Get Mike, come on. You gotta get Mike.
He's coming with us, Markeen.
You gotta get Mike. Got you, Mike.
Santana Moss, I want to ask you, growing up, on the field, in life, period, what days made you a better person? Days that were rough, if people were yelling at you, your father was yelling at you on the field, or the days that you were doing good in school, doing good on the field, scoring touchdowns. What days made you a better person, in general?
That's a good one, man. To be honest, I was one of those guys that I hated people talking to me in a certain way, but I also was coachable, very coachable. So when I got the coaches to give me that backlash and be talking to me in that tone, then that let me know I was doing something wrong. It has to be me, because you ain't just wake up this morning to talk to me that way, So I made sure, even at home, I made sure that let me handle my business. My mom said I got to cut the yard today, wash the car. Let me get up and do this now. Because I don't want you talking to me sideways all day on my Sunday. Seriously.
And same way in school. Let me do my assignments because I don't want that backlash. And so I believe that made me better, and that made me down the road have a better, outlook at, what it is to do what you have to do. If you take care of your responsibilities, no one should be coming at you wrong. And now you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And I think me having that kind of mindset gave me that easy going, that I had. Because to be honest with you, I didn't have that much. Probably in college a couple of times, but after me and that coach had a couple of words, I knew what he wanted from me and I knew what I wanted from him, and boom, we didn't have no more of those bad, upcoming. So I think just understanding what it was, my responsibilities, because everybody has responsibility regardless of what you're doing. When I understood that more, I made sure I carried them out before someone told me to, and then I had to worry about nobody talking to me that way, and I was always having a good day. Whether it was bad or good, I still had a good day.
Good. Very good. So thank you again, Mr. Moss. This is a little token of our appreciation in your favorite colors, I believe.
Yeah.
Just to say thank you from Jimmy, your #1 fan.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Ain't he up there? Thank y'all.
Thank you both. Often I hear, Geoffrey, why do you do this on your birthday? Why do you always do this on your birthday? You can pick any day you want. Why do it on your birthday? And it's for these images right here. This is my absolute favorite time of the year, graduation, to get these young men to this point. And so why not celebrate the guys, celebrate you and your success in what we're doing and starting this year off academically right with having a great celebration. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you.